Welcome. In this video, we're going to explore some of the basic number formats. And the first thing you need to know about Excel is that when you first start entering numbers, you're using what's called the general format. It's good for all purposes. And you know that you're using general because if you look at the Home tab in the section for numbers, you can see it says general. And there's a drop-down menu that gives you some choices. There's also more number formats. Right now, looking at general in this column, we can see what it looks like. That number is entered with 2 decimal places, and that's what it shows. And the next number didn't have any decimal places, and so that's what it shows. And the 0 shows as a 0. Nothing lines up. It's kind of messy, not terribly useful, and in fact, generally speaking, you should never use general for numbers. So let's take a look at what you could use instead. Next, I'm going to select these 3 numbers, right-click, Format. I'm going to select Number. Now you can see I have some options. I can change the number of decimal places, and I can use the 1000 separator, and I absolutely want to put those little commas in. You can see the sample changes right away so I can see what it looks like. I also have some choices around negative numbers. I can use a minus sign. I can do it in red, or I can do it in red with a minus sign. Red looks very nice on the screen, but if you're printing with a non-color printer, it doesn't work. It just grays it out a little bit, and you really can't tell which numbers are positive and which ones are negative. So best to probably always use the minus sign. Okay. And you can see what that looks like. Now everything lines up on the decimal place. We've got the 1000 separator, and the 0 is showing with 2 decimal places. So all the numbers have 2 decimal places. It's pretty good. Let's see what's different about currency. So right-click, Format, Currency. Oh, now I can see I still have the 2 decimal places, but now I don't have a choice about the 1000 separator. It's just going to put it in automatically. It also allows me to choose a currency symbol. I can use the $ or just about any other currency symbol you can imagine, or I can choose none. I'm going to use the $ symbol, and that's fine. Same choices around negative numbers. I'm going to click OK. And now I have it formatted as currency. The $ appears right against the number, the minus sign before the $. If you format a whole spreadsheet like this, it looks pretty messy. The $ symbols don't line up, which is generally speaking not how you want things to appear, and so it's probably not a great choice. Now you know that if you're working in accounting, and you know accountants love Excel, you're pretty sure that the accounting format must be the one you should use. So we'll select those cells. We'll go up here this time and we'll select Accounting. And that's the results. It's similar to currency, but now the $ is aligned with the left margin of the cell, minus sign just in front of the $. The 0 is showing as a little dash, very tidy looking. One of the best features about accounting is right after the last digit, there's a little bit of white space. You see that? So if you have a whole lot of columns and numbers, it just provides a little separation, making it all a little easier to read. The trouble with the accounting format is that a lot of $ don't make things easier to read. In fact, it kind of makes things messier. And if you have your columns too wide, the $ and the minus sign are not really associated anymore with the dollars. And in fact, if you think how it looks if you print it out, and I'll do that by removing the grid lines, you can see that it's almost impossible for the person to really see that these tie together. So if you're going to use accounting, a couple of things. Don't use $ on every number, and make your column widths appropriate. I really hate that little minus sign. It just is so small and almost invisible. I really, really hate it. And I don't know why Excel doesn't give us the option of putting brackets around numbers, which is what I think most accountants would prefer. The good news is that you can do it using a custom number format. So let's go look and see how that works. Here I've formatted all of these numbers using accounting. I've done it with the dollar sign and I've done it without the dollar sign. So I'm going to select these three and I'm going to do custom formatting. So here we go, format cells, and it defaults to accounting under number because that's what was in here. And now when I go to custom, it starts with that format. So I'm going to modify it. I'm not going to make any serious changes. You need to know that there's 4 things in a number format. The first one is the positive number. The second one is the negative number. The third one is how the zeros will be displayed. And the last has to do with entering text. That's a topic for another day. So we're going to modify this by going right in where the dollar sign is, and I'm going to back over the minus sign, and I'm going to replace it with an open bracket. And then I'm going to go right to the last 0, put a close bracket, and then I'm going to delete. It was fairly easy. Click OK. And isn't that just lovely? Let's do it here. Notice that I select all the cells. So when you're formatting, don't just pick the one that you want to change right now. You want to make it more universal than that. So right click, format, custom, right before the first number, back up, open brackets, go to the last 0, close brackets, delete. Okay, and there you go. Remember the same thing I said before. If your columns are too wide, it still doesn't look good because the brackets and the dollar signs just kind of disassociate from the numbers. Always, always, always make your column widths appropriate to the data that you're working with. It's really easy to change. There's really no excuse to not do it. I'm going to do one more little change here, and I'm going to do it in here just so you can see how it works. I'm going to format. I'm starting now with the custom one, and what Excel does is every time you create a custom one, it creates a new format. It doesn't delete or modify the old one. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to just put another dash in here. In fact, I'll put 2 in. Right now it's displaying 1 dash for zeros. I'm going to have it show 3 dashes for zeros. There you go. It's as simple as that. Let's put all of that to work. Here's a worksheet that someone created and it looks lovely in all regards except the numbers are really hard to read. The first thing you want to do is think about, what do I want as my universal base? What's my default formatting choice? And here when I look at the numbers, I can see there's no pennies anywhere. So I'm going to use no dollar signs and no decimal places. Go up to the little neutral corner, format, and first of all I'm going to choose accounting, no decimal places, and none. So that's a great start. Now I'm going to consider whether I have any negative numbers to deal with, and if I have negative numbers, I have to then consider that formatting. I don't want to just do it for the negative numbers. I want to do it for the whole worksheet. So right click, format, go back into custom, and scroll down and look for the one that had brackets, no dollar sign, and here's the one that had the 3 little dashes. So click on that. Okay. This is always going to be true within a workbook. Your custom formatting is available for every sheet. I don't want the zeros, but that's okay. Just go to Home, into the number section, and decrease the number of decimal places. It still kept my custom formatting. It still looks really good. Now that most of my worksheet is the way I want it, I can look at the exceptions. And here I'm just going to change this to general because it's dates, it's the year. And I'm going to add a dollar sign here. and a $sign here. Notice all I'm doing is hitting on the $sign and then taking out the extra zeros. If I want these to be dollars though, I'm going to have to make sure I keep my custom formatting, and it didn't do it for me. So selecting those cells, format, go back in and look for the one that has the brackets and the $sign. OK. Take out the extra zeros, and now I've got a worksheet I can be proud of. I hope you found this interesting. I have one bit of bad news for you. You have to do this on every workbook you open. I have no idea why Excel doesn't allow us to keep custom formats. It's only good within that workbook. So if you want to create a template, there is an Excel video on that, which I hope you'll explore. But right now, we're done. I hope you had fun. I hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.